Hello everyone and welcome to the Hunter Association, your source for all things Hunter x Hunter. My name is Kaige.
And my name is Dylan.
And on this week's episode, we will be talking about Hunter x Hunter 1999, episodes 19 through 21. Then, of course, we'll be going through our community comments. If you'd like to join in on the community and have your comment read, be sure to comment on the YouTube version on the weekly community posts. Also, make sure to like, comment, and also make sure to like and subscribe to help grow our community of Hunter x Hunter fans. Additionally, if you'd like to know when new episodes are live, click the bell to enable notifications. If you're an audio listener, make sure to rate, review, and comment on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Also, be sure to follow us on Twitter at HxHPod, as well as Bluesky at THAPod for podcast-related updates and to submit responses to the weekly call-out posts. If you'd like, you can also still email us at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com. As always, we provided timestamps in the description if you'd like to skip ahead to any of the aforementioned segments.
Been a while since I heard you fumble the intro.
Yeah, I fumbled the hell out of that one. Damn.
First time for everything.
Yeah, I guess so. So, believe it or not, there is no news.
Yeah, shocker, right, guys?
It's pretty crazy, but, we carry on.
We carry on. That's right.
However, we do have 3 brand new pages of the Battle for Owl by Leo Dog.
Got a good chunk this week. Woo.
Yeah, eating good before our break.
Yeah.
So also, before we even get into the pages, I want to mention Insert Name, who I'm sure you're all aware of, has created a wiki for this comic.
It is insane. That's all I can really say about it.
Yeah, so this blew our minds. we had I think me and Dan had joked about it in our last 99 episode, just about somebody making a wiki, and I jokingly said, "Oh yeah, Insert Name could probably do that," and he did it. So good job.
Yeah, so many different sections and summaries. It is insane the amount of work that was put into that, and I don't know why you did it, Insert Name, but thank you. That gave me a very good laugh reading through it.
Yeah, I admire it a lot.
Yeah.
So check that out. We'll have a link in the description if you want to check it out.
Yeah, there's some very biased summaries of some of these pages there, but that'll be a good place to check out prior pages that Leo Dog has made too. So go check that out, I guess. Yeah, thank you. Insert Name.
Yeah, and for audio listeners, as usual, these pages are available on our social media, but now you can also check them out on that wiki. So you got 2 options.
There you go.
All right, starting off with these 3 pages here, we are on the first page, and we are picking up where we left off, where Dylan had just punched me into a wall, seemingly.
Yeah, seemingly.
But I appeared right behind him, and now we pick up there, where Dylan turns around and says, "What? But I just punched the shit out of you." Very Dylan, very Dylan.
Very me-like, I will admit.
And I say, "Remember what I said before the fight?" And we have a flashback, and I love this.
This is like late JJK kind of flashbacks, right?
Yes, yes, I thought the same thing, Dylan.
The most random cutaway for the most elaborate explanation.
So funny. So yeah, if you recall, my ability works by it only works if you explain the ability beforehand. So it turns out before the fight, I had told Dylan, "Special guest lets me summon a dummy of anyone," to which Dylan just says, "Huh?"
Yeah, I said that out of nowhere.
Genius.
Man. What the hell?
We then continue in the future, or in the present, where I say, "When I missed you with that first attack, it was no accident." And we see Jing and oh no. Satotes.
Yeah, okay, I was about to say, I wanted to give you a moment, but oh man.
I got it.
I remember that one.
I just slipped my mind for a second. Jing says, "Not bad, Kate. Not bad. Kaige switched himself with a dummy right after missing that first attack." And Satote says, "Remarkable. He's fooled me too." So if you fool Sawtotes, then you know you're cooking.
Yeah, exactly.
And someone, maybe Jing, I don't know which one of them says, Owl, you've got yourself some fans. So
That he
true.
does. So very true. We go to the next page now, where I ask a very, very logical question here. Okay, but where did you go after you summoned the dummy? It's a very good question, I might say. But and then Kaige responds, "Remember the other thing I said before the fight." And the most smug look on his face as he says, "As long as I stay still, or no, pause. Let's be turned invisible as long as I stay still." And I say, "Are you talking to me? You are a yapper in this pre-fight, man. Holy."
That is so funny.
That is the most, that is the most hilarious thing. I just spitball all of your abilities right away. Just confuse me. I don't know what you're doing.
That's amazing.
And to which Jing says, "I'll be stealing those abilities, haha." I'd like to see that fight, personally.
Yeah.
So in response, assumingly because I'm getting mad at this point that Kaige is doing all this random bullcrap, I have a massive amount of aura behind me as I say, "So what you're saying is this is the real you, right?" As Kaige says, "Yep." And then he says, "Fast forward lets me," and as I'm punching him in the face, it looks like we're about to.
And I continue that by saying, "Speed up," which is a very simple explanation of the ability, but I guess it counts.
I guess so, yeah.
So we both kind of get hit at first, but then, and I love what you did here, that this is communicated so effectively. This is very good art here. I dodge the first attack, and then I leap back again, and Dylan rushes towards me, and then I think I dodged that one barely, but then he jumps again and hits me in the face. I think I interpreted that correctly. It's a very quick exchange of just like speeding back and forth.
Yeah, I love this panel specifically. I think it's communicated really well. It just looks good too.
Yeah, it looks fantastic. And then we have a very interesting lore drop here at the end.
Yeah, whoa.
With Yuppie and his wife and child, I presume, saying, "Go, nephew."
What the hell?
That's wow. So
okay.
I guess you are in some way related to Yuppie, Dylan, or maybe he like trained you.
Well, do we know who he's talking to here? It's kind of vague, right?
I assume you, because I got hit in the face, and I'm not really on the up and up, as they say that. But you never know, I guess.
Either way, lore drop of the century here. Yuppie has family somehow.
Yeah, and he's also really happy.
When did he have time to have a family? That's my question.
I guess this is an alternate universe where he lived and was chill.
Yeah, I guess so. Well, I guess of the Royal Guard, Yuppie maybe had the most potential to be a chill dude. So,
yeah, I would say so.
Makes sense, I suppose. But yeah, that's where we're ending off, I believe, for pages this week. But very well done, Leo Dog, as usual.
Yes, great stuff. I love these pages. And yeah, we won't pick up again until 2 weeks from now, unfortunately for you guys. But I do post the pages as they come out on our Bluesky page. So if you want to check them out, even whenever we're not doing an episode, you can check them out there.
I have to update it, the Twitter thread with these pages, but the Twitter thread is indeed up now in general, so you can view all the past pages at the very least until I get these up there.
Hell yeah. All right, so that's all for the Battle of Owl this week, and I think with that, we're ready to dive into Hunter x Hunter 1999.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's go ahead and get into it.
All right, welcome to our coverage of Hunter x Hunter 1999, episodes 19 through 21.
We got an interesting patch this time around. We
do, yes. We are continuing this filler arc, or filler section of the story, whatever you want to call it, of Lipo's bonus round, as we know it, by the end of this.
Yeah, I believe where we left off last time is that the basically all the proctors just kind of dipped by the morning, and now all of our applicants are stranded on this giant hotel boat thing.
Yes. Yeah, the hotel aspect of it doesn't really come back around in any capacity, but
no, it just kind of came and went. A little weird.
It is a boat, at least.
You can definitely tell from little things like that, though, that like this filler arc was definitely just kind of like on a whim. I feel like as it was being produced.
Yeah, more than likely. So this first episode here is called Stranded, Logbook, Soaked. Fair enough.
Great.
And we pick up. Everybody's like feeling down. They're confused. They're like, "Damn, our proctor just left. What are we gonna do?" Some are taking it better than others.
Yeah.
As you would expect. We got the two bros still working out. It's really all they seem to do ever.
Literally ever. That is the only thing they're there for, I guess. I don't know.
As of now, yeah, that is pretty much it. So, the crew's just kind of bickering with each other, trying to figure out like, all right, what's the strategy here? How are we gonna get out of here? Mm-hmm. Different people are kind of taking sides. Like you have, well, first I guess we're kind of semi-united to begin with. We have Pokel and what will become like the main group, which is Hanzo. Hanzo is very, very, he's a big deal in this
front
arc.
And center. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which isn't the most surprising thing in the world, I guess, but like I don't know, it's just weird to see here. I don't know.
Yeah, I like it. It gives us a lot more Hanzo time.
Yeah. I'm a Hanzo fan, so I appreciate this to some extent.
Yeah. And of course, Pokel and Ponzu as well are pretty important. Pretty much, all the people that will be important in the future still are here. Hisoka and Ilumi excluded, but even they get a little moment at the end.
Well, we'll talk about that next episode. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it will be this episode of the podcast.
Next episode of 99.
But yes.
Episode 20. You know what I mean. Well, anyways, moving on. Tease too much.
So yeah, they're just kind of exploring the ship. They find some compasses, which where does that even go anywhere?
A box of compasses.
So, really.
What?
Yeah,
Why?
A box of compasses, some like triangulation tools. They don't use any of this as far as I'm aware. But
at least not on screen. Not that I
yeah, I bet Kurapika does off screen to figure out the route to Zevil Island, but
yeah, probably.
We don't see it.
Oh, you know what? Well, no, never mind. Yeah, I don't know. Kurapika's very weird in this arc. Do you agree? Like, I think it's present even in this episode, but especially next episode too. Kurapika is like
weird how
he's just presented as like the like smartest dude on the planet. It feels like, which
he's pretty smart.
He is pretty smart, but like holy, he could do everything, man.
Yeah, he can kind of do everything.
That's kind of my thing. Like holy, like he's proficient in geography too. Like what's next? Like I don't know. Kind of crazy.
No,
to me.
You're right. I didn't really think of it that way, but yeah, you're definitely right about that.
It's like anytime there needs to be an explanation for some event that's happening, Kurapika just happens to know like every detail of it ever, or like how to solve the problem. It's like, and this is a constant trend I'm seeing with 99 in general too, as Kurapika's characterization. It's just weird. I'm not opposed to it, but it's weird.
Yeah. I'm with you. I like Kurapika a lot here, but we'll talk about it as we continue here.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, they realize that the goal of this part of the exam is to get to Zevil Island with that map thing. They figure out that that's their destination. And as soon as they said that, I started to like, to me, this reminded me a lot of like, this might sound like a strange comparison at first, but this reminded me of Solo, the movie, like a Star Wars story.
What?
In the sense that like, it's a story in between a story already told. So there is a set endpoint that must be gotten to. So throughout that, like in that movie, you think like, there's the line in New Hope about, I did the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs. Okay, so in this movie, he's going to do the Kessel Run in 12 parsecs because it's a Han Solo movie. This is like, all right, we got to get to Zevil Island because Zevil Island's the next part of the story.
Okay,
I don't.
a bit of a stretch, I feel like, for the comparison point, but I see what you're saying. Yeah.
It's just like this is this is an unnatural part of the story that's inserted in the middle.
Okay. When you put it that way,
it's forcing an explanation to get to the point where the actual story, is supposed to be.
Okay, when you put it that way, it makes more sense, I think. Yeah.
Yeah. The Kessel Run example wasn't the best, but
No, I get what you were going for though.
Actually, Rogue One might be a better comparison.
Ooh, yeah, a little bit.
Because we have the beginning point of A New Hope with Rebel faction has gotten the plans of the Death Star, and we have the end of Rogue One of getting those plans.
Yeah.
Anyways, this isn't Star Wars.
No, maybe in an alternate universe Star Wars podcast.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. So yeah, there now we have like some factions splitting off. It doesn't last very long, but we have some people that are kind of like, man, forget this. I'm just going off on my own and finding a boat and making it there myself. And then we have Hanzo and Kurapika kind of taking the charge with the group that wants to work together to figure out some more methods on getting to Zevil Island with the resources they have on the boat.
I gotta say, Goretta was kind of a troublemaker here. Like, what reason did you have to stir everybody up like that? Genuinely.
Yeah, Goretta is the one that kind of stirred everybody. And I don't know. I mean, this is kind of set up for what he'll do later, I suppose. But we'll get to it. So, Gon and Killua find this diving suit. And that's one of those things where you like immediately know that that's going to be used later on.
Yeah, I knew as soon as I saw it, I'm like, yep, that's being used.
Yeah, that's something's going to happen there. So, Hanzo and them are trying to figure out like boat stuff. They're trying to like look at, like, they're looking at all the boats that are around, like the little boats, and seeing if any of those are capable of taking them as far as Zevil Island, while Kurapika, Pokol, and Ponzu are kind of staying behind and checking out the big ship that was a hotel in the last episode.
I think specifically it's at this point they're like kind of checking for like if they can get power at all or like communication stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then all the other people that split off from that main group, they're kind of just doing their own thing, finding like shipwrecked ships. Goretta has like a very small boat he's trying to get like an engine working on or something.
Yeah. Yeah, and Leorio and Hanzo are trying to find like anything they can use from the other boats to help get the big boat running. Yeah. And eventually they figure out that like, I mean, this will probably work out. We can more than likely get this thing running, but it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, and we get a lot of explanations in general as we cut away to these people about how like difficult this whole thing is at the moment and how many barriers there are.
And how teamwork is very important.
Yeah.
And that's something Leorio is really honed in on, and to the point where he actually, and I wish we saw this on screen, but it happens off screen, but he kind of wrangles all the people that broke off from the group back into the group to work on the big ship together. Which is cool. I wish we saw it happen, though.
Lario's a leader.
Hell yeah. But then he immediately gives his leadership position to other people.
Well, yeah, but going into the second half of this episode also, I want to add that Gon, or like we kind of get a zoom in as like Gon and Killua are talking to the very top of the ship where we see some barnacles that have grown to like the very top.
Correct. Yeah, that's a good detail to point out. Yeah. Interesting. So, as I said, Leorio makes Hanzo the leader, or he doesn't do it. He's like, what do we think about Hanzo as the leader? And I guess people are cool with it. Yeah,
so Hanzo's the leader, and Kurapika's
the co-leader, sub-leader, whatever.
Yeah, I don't know.
Second in command. Yeah. Hanzo's yapping about Wa.
Oh yeah, wow. Yeah, dude. Would you also laugh out loud when like the kanji showed up for like literally
a frame? Just like a split second. It's like the Fight Club thing of like subliminal messaging.
Yeah. I was laughing so hard for no reason. I was like, what?
Yeah, wah
Did
jump
they need to
scare.
put that there? It wasn't even a bit. That was the one time they did that.
Yeah, I know.
They talked about wah a
So
couple other times. So that
he
was weird.
says that this form of teamwork is known as wah or harmony.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
wah.
Wah.
They're wahing all over the place. And he kind of just breaks down the plan of what's gonna happen. He's gonna have Karapika kind of stay in the what do you call this? I don't know. Command deck.
I forget the term. I'm not gonna lie.
Whatever it is. I don't know boat things.
Boat terms.
But they're gonna have Karapika stay there and kind of, I guess, just kind of monitor all the other, because they have the speaking tubes.
Yeah.
Whatever those are called.
The
I don't know what those are called either. But you know what they are. The big tubes that just lead from one part of the ship to the other, and they can kind of yell through them.
I want to point out, while all of this is happening, Hisoka's just kind of like sitting on like a rock, just staring into the ocean right now. So
Yep, he's just chilling.
He's being a big help right now.
Oh yeah. Nobody's really messing with him, or Ilumi, or Gitaraka, or whatever.
Gitaraka. Not who's Ilumi?
Yeah, who is that? So this is around the part they start to figure out this that the atmosphere is abnormal around this island. And Karapika, or so I don't know who finds the book exactly. Maybe it is Karapika, but either way, Karapika is the one that reads it. Where?
Oh no, it was Gon and Killua who found the logbook.
Oh, they found the book. Okay,
they found the logbook. Yeah.
Yes. So in this logbook, it's explained that there's a storm. What is it? Every
10 years, I think.
10 years or something like that. Yeah. Hold on, I just found it. As predicted, this phenomenon occurs once every 10 years. Yeah. So every 10 years, this ridiculous storm will happen. It'll kind of come in two waves. The first wave, the water will rise. I don't know how high it was. Not like that crazy high. It's still pretty devastating.
Yeah, it wasn't it wasn't life-threatening, but it was rough.
Yeah, which we'll talk about in a second, actually. It's about to happen when they're talking about it. But the second wave is the problem, because that is the whole island is just covered. It's gone.
The entire ship will be underwater.
This ship
explains the barnacles earlier,
Yes, exactly. Yeah, the whole ship will be submerged underwater. So as they are discovering this, the first round of the storm is starting. They see a big tornado as the people that haven't been wrangled in they're setting up their ships, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm getting to Zevil Island with this one."
Yeah, the Amori brothers have a hot air balloon. Where the hell did they find that?
It was just chilling there. I bet that was a trap, honestly. That was the Hunter Association wanted somebody to try that shit.
Maybe. Did you also did the face on that balloon remind you of the black whale at all?
I didn't think of that. I did not think of that, but I can see what you're thinking. Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's interesting.
Just something I noticed.
Yeah. Wouldn't be surprised, because, evidently I feel Togashi ended up taking quite a few things from this filler arc. I have a feeling Togashi really liked this, honestly.
Which, that'd be crazy if this is a precursor to Succession War. How do we go
in some capacity? Yeah, so the first group of bozos, they get swept up in the hurricane. They're done for, or tornado. I don't know what it is. I guess probably a tornado.
Yeah, those guys are just they make not a big deal out of it at all, but they get sucked up in there and they're gone.
They are gone. Dead. They're probably dead. Yeah. Garetta's in a similar situation. He's about to get sucked in, and then Gon jumps in after him. I guess the other guys weren't important.
Yeah. Gon didn't care about those guys.
Yeah. Meanwhile, the Amori brothers are just clowning around. They're chilling. They're gonna be fine, but
they got blown back onto the ship, so consider themselves lucky, I guess.
Yeah, they were the luckiest of the three groups that tried. Their air balloon did explode, but they were fine. They landed on whatever. Whatever those are called. You know the thing.
You know the thing.
You know the one. Um, and Gon makes it out to Garetta's ship. Meanwhile, Killua and the bros and Hanzo are swimming out to meet them. And this cool moment happens where Gon tosses his fishing line to Killua. Killua ties the fishing rod to the rope that's, holding their boat.
Mm-hmm.
And then he tosses it back to Gon. And, now the ships are tethered. And I thought that was really clever.
Yeah, that was a nice little sequence. I like that.
Because at first I was just thinking, okay, that fishing line is not going to hold. I thought Killua was just going to hold on to the fishing line.
Same.
But,
No,
they were smarter about it. Yeah.
Everyone on the ship is trying to pull the rope to bring it
Yeah.
all back. Hisoka's just doing nothing still the entire time.
He's just chilling, yeah. Yeah, I love him for that.
He's enjoying the show.
Yeah, and Ilumi is in a cannon or something, just hanging
just
out. I don't know what.
Super funny. He's just laying there chilling.
He's just chilling. Yeah, they're really just chilling. So yeah, Gon rescues Garetta, and Garetta's kind of like, you know what? Hell yeah, kid. And now he's kind of on board with the group too.
Yeah.
And this is a really interesting dynamic to add to these two before what will happen with them on Zevil Island.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a pretty cool addition, honestly. I think it's neat. I hope going forward with Zevil Island we'll get some kind of anime original moment between the two of them during their confrontation, but we'll see.
Could be interesting, yeah. But we'll see. But yeah, this is where the explanation hits though, that Kurapika basically says that, well, this is just the beginning. 24 hours from now, everything is going to be underwater. And we kind of end off episode 19 with that kind of revelation.
Yes. So they have 24 hours before everything they see is underwater. So they got to get moving.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Yeah, high stakes.
Barely survived this first round, and that second round is no bueno.
But what the first round of it did was unite the team.
Yep.
And I think that's neat.
I don't really... This episode was interesting. I feel like a lot of nothing happened until the last 5 minutes. I'm not gonna lie.
I quite liked it personally. I just like seeing the Hunter exam participants interacting with each other. It's fun. It's not something you get to see. I like the idea of trying this idea of bringing them together before you have to take them apart on Zevil Island.
I agree with your take that it's nice to see everyone interacting, but I feel like there was a lack of interacting in this episode. A lot of people were off kind of doing their own thing and doing just very monotonous stuff. And I feel like we didn't really get a lot of character dynamics. We rather just kind of finding random things that kind of don't amount to anything, at least at this current point in time. And just I don't know. I feel like we're not getting a whole lot of characters out of these characters. It feels like people are just kind of finding stuff. And I don't know. It feels very unlike some of the other instances in prior episodes where, these characters are actually interacting with each other and kind of getting to know one another. Felt like everyone was kind of going through the motions in this episode. So that's kind of my problem with it. But I thought the last stretch was really interesting. And I thought that, characterized those dynamics well enough. But the bulk of the episode, I think, was just kind of it felt a little monotonous leading up to that point, I guess, is my take on it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't agree. I had a pretty good time with this episode. I really liked. I just like seeing them do things. I mean, I don't know. I guess you can argue that
they
what
weren't
they're doing
a whole lot. That's kind of my thing on it, right? It's we found a box of compasses. Okay, we found a diving suit. Okay, and granted, the diving suit especially comes into play later, but I don't know. It just didn't really feel like a lot was happening for the most part. So it was just kind of whatever to me,
Fair enough. Yeah, I mean, I liked it. I guess I'll say my piece on it. I don't know. I just thought, like I said, the character interactions were fun, minimal but fun. I like the pairing of Ponzu and Pokal, which will become a canon thing later, which is really interesting that we have foreshadowing of that here in a filler arc.
It kind of reads to me like they knew each other before even this Hunter exam even started, which is, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whether that is the
really
case or not, it doesn't really matter, I guess, but it's cool nonetheless.
Yeah, it's so interesting. Togashi definitely like took something from this, or maybe he told the 99 staff about future plans with the two, because we don't get anything like this between the two of them in the manga at this point. So it's it's very peculiar, but it's cool. I get it makes it. I almost wish like these scenes with the two of them were in the manga, because that would make what they become later more natural. But
I also said we can't rule out that this could also just be pure coincidence at the same time.
yeah, it absolutely could be. It's just that would be an insane coincidence considering how it's
for sure.
exactly what happened.
I'm not disagreeing, but like that could still be the case for all we know. That'd be insane for that to be planned that far ahead, like a specific pairing like that. I don't know.
Well, that's why I'm thinking Togashi just liked this idea from 99 and took it from this.
Do we know if Togashi talked about 99 at any given point in like interviews or whatever? That's what I'm curious about at this point.
Yeah, I would like to know that too. I haven't done that research, but maybe I will, because that's a good question. I don't know if he's I mean, there really aren't a lot of Togashi interviews out there, to be honest.
Right.
But there's got to be something about 99, even whenever it was just like coming out. I'm sure there's something. I mean, he's in the show. He did a couple of lines.
Yeah. So you're right on that.
Must have had some involvement.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's episode 19 though.
It was whatever to me. See, we don't always agree with each other. Chat.
It's very true, because I quite liked it actually. So episode 20 here, we continuing just where we left off. They're worried about the second round of the storm coming, and Hanzo's rallying the group together, hyping them up, and trying to pin down a game plan.
Which there's very little options, it sounds like, because for all intents and purposes, from what they can see, they're kind of boned. There's like no way out at this point in time.
Yeah, a lot of them are losing hope.
Can't escape by air, can't escape by sea. This boat is stuck in a big rock. Like, yeah, they don't even know if the engine still works.
Right. And this episode, by the way, is called Big Waves, Big Cannon, Huge Rush. Not Big Rush, but Huge Rush. So, right on.
Yeah, right on.
And this is whenever we are starting to get into the realization that we have to make this big ship move, or we aren't getting off the island. There is no other option at all. Mm-hmm. This has to happen, or we're dead.
Thankfully, the engine does work, as they find out very quickly.
Yes.
It's a matter of literally everything else that's a problem.
Yeah. Every other aspect is a problem. And even getting the engine to run is a challenge in and of itself. Mm-hmm. But it does work. So now we have, all the groups splitting off and doing different tasks. I don't know what everybody is doing. Some people just kind of seem to be staring at walls. Like, I don't know. Like, what? They're probably doing something. But the main named characters they all have actual jobs.
Yeah. But before they even get these jobs, it's revealed through finding the blueprints and whatnot that what they're hedging their hopes on at this point is using the artillery on the ship to break the ship free from the rock that's kind of caved in and stuck on.
Yes.
And from there, hopefully being able to like get enough momentum to get the ship actually running and going.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I neglected to mention that, the ship is stuck in a rock. It's not just like not moving. It's also stuck.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the game plan. That's pretty much all they can come up with. And I mean, yeah, I don't see why it wouldn't work, really. It seems to be pretty big cannons on this thing, so surely it can get it unstuck from this rock. They don't mention it ever, but I would worry about just the recoil damage on the ship from the cannon fire. But
well, you got to remember they're hoping that the recoil benefits them because they need to find a way to get the boat moving in the first place. But
what if it damages like the hull of the ship whenever it fires the cannon? That doesn't even seem to be
I
a
mean,
concern.
the hull is already damaged, to be fair.
True. Yeah, you're right.
They don't have a lot to lose here.
Yeah, no, you're totally right. Yeah. I guess they just don't really care.
Like, they had a whole section in this episode, I can't remember where, basically about having to go, like, empty out the water in one hull of the ship so that it balances out the rest of the ship.
Yeah. I'm about to get there. Well, I'm not about to get there, but we'll get there. Yeah, that's very true. I guess at this point, extra damage. Well, but extra damage would still hurt them for sure.
What choice do they have?
Exactly. Yeah, there's just no choice. So they're just throwing shit at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Basically, yeah. And everybody else is doing other stuff, like going and kill or dive into the water to like remove like the seaweed and stuff from the propellers.
Algae and stuff.
Which, by the way, how long are they holding their breath for down there? What the hell?
Dude, I kept thinking that whole time. They don't even seem to come up for air. I mean, it must happen off screen, surely, but
like literally every time they cut to them, they're still underwater and they're smiling and stuff. Like they're not struggling at all. Like, okay,
they're chilling.
Aquaman, like, jeez.
I mean, like, low key, it makes sense. Kilo is an assassin and Gon is Tarzan, so
Tarzan, yeah.
They're both kind of. I bet they can hold their breath for a good amount of time. But it seems like an abnormally long time.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, everybody else has their own jobs. We got people working on the engine. We got people working on the cannons. Ponzu and Pokal. Yes, Leorio's in the diving suit from earlier. Ponzu and Pokal are. What are they doing? It's like the most important thing. What are they doing?
They are. They're trying to fix the power on the ship and like specifically.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, and just the power grid in general, essentially.
Yep. That's their job. And it seems intense.
Yeah, absolutely. They're like crawling through air ducts and shit to like get to where they need to go.
Yeah. And Leorio is diving for the what would you call these, like big bullets? I don't know, like artillery rounds.
Big bullet. Yeah. They're just like cannon.
They're
shells,
not cannon balls. They're like
they're akin to like mortars, essentially.
Yeah. There you go.
Hisoka's standing on a flagpole.
Yep. Hisoka and Ilumi are just kind of watching all of this and just making like vague comments like, "Oh wow, they're sure full of energy."
Yeah,
Man,
they're full of it. Go help! Yeah, what the hell? Your life is on the line too.
They're not worried about it.
Yeah, they don't care about their own lives. You're right.
So Leorio, unfortunately, has a little mishap, and these, whatever you want to call them, big bullets just fall on him and knocks him out.
Yeah.
Underwater. That's bad. Well, that's real bad.
At least he's in the diving suit, right? You know, he has a little bit of air.
He has some air, but he is unconscious. Mm-hmm. So that's happening, and we have this new character who
Where did they come from, dude? I was thinking that the entire time.
I don't know. She's completely filler, but I quite like her. Her name is Cyper, and she is a sniper. So very creative name.
My thing is, like, she is an applicant, and this is the first time we have seen her.
I know. Like, as far as I mean, hey, maybe we just weren't looking for her. Maybe she was in the background or something.
I'm looking it up right now. I refuse to believe she appeared before this.
I feel like I would have noticed, but who knows? She wasn't important until right now. Will we see her on Zevil Island, by the way?
It debuted in episode 6? What?
There we go.
Where? Wait, when did that happen, huh?
Probably just in the background somewhere. I wonder if she's in the manga. Like, is this like a reoccurring background?
She's
character?
in the manga too.
Wow.
Chapter 22 was her debut.
What?
Huh?
So she's real.
She is a real Togashi character.
Wow,
what?
She's even in 2011. She looks completely different, but yeah.
Oh my god, yeah, she does. What the hell? In 99, she looks like she'd like fit in with like the Turks in Final Fantasy 7. But
yeah, that's what I was thinking too.
Yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, no, she's real. She actually okay. Well, we'll talk about her more in the future because I know actually what happens to her, but it's a very minor role. But I see what they did. They backfilled. They took a very minor character from this arc and just gave her more screen time, similar to what they did with like
Huh.
the snake charmer in the episode 18. Yeah, I guess this one just wasn't as memorable.
I just forgot about this character completely, I guess. Okay, never mind.
I did too, but she's cool as hell. I like her.
She is cool. They
So-
characterized her well here.
Yeah. So she's tasked with like there's also an explosives expert. I don't know his name. I didn't bother to remember, but he sets up some explosives on like just some parts of the ship that are keeping it down. I don't know what they are really.
Mm-hmm.
And Cyper's job is to shoot the
everything.
bombs. Yeah, just shoot everything. So she does that, blows those up, and now her next job will be to actually man the cannons later. Kurapika's starting to freak out because it's getting to like dusk, and
This is a really cool
They're-
scene, I think, or good looking at the very least.
very good looking. Yeah, Kurapika's animated very well, and I don't know about you, but I love Kurapika in this episode particularly.
Yes,
I
yeah.
think,
This
okay,
episode, I can say, assuredly by this point, I'm enjoying it so much more than 19, and that's just because there's so much more happening in general. It feels like actual stakes and stuff progressing towards.
yeah, like
and then
I was kind of on the edge of my seat.
Yeah, and the
I
Karapika
really-
in this episode in particular is awesome.
Yeah.
It was done really, really well here.
Yeah, so he's like kind of losing his cool. He's really worried.
He's seeing
About-
it come on the horizon. And he's
Yeah,
told
he
that-
literally sees the tornado.
and then he gets
Shit.
told almost immediately that Lirio is still underwater, and rescuing him
Yep.
might cause more deaths. So just keep that in mind, man, before you make any
Yep.
decision.
Yep.
No
so-
pressure.
Now Kurapika, who was once given commands, is now kind of under decision paralysis
Yeah.
until
Frozen up.
he's told that Gon went after Leorio, and he'll handle it. So he calms down for now, but he'll freak out again in a moment. But
Yeah, he still has to worry about the water spout. And then this is where this caught me off guard. As he's working to try and figure out how much time they have left. He has a full-on calculator and is doing trigonometry
Yeah,
and shit like that.
dude.
What in the world? This is where I was like, okay, man, he could just do literally anything in this series.
he can do it all, bro.
When did he get a math education? Please tell me. I would love to know.
I guess the Kurta clan has good schools.
I guess so, yeah. And he learned all of that when he was 10 years old, right?
Yeah, something like that.
He's a prodigy. That's crazy.
He is. Yeah, that's remarkable.
I just think it's funny more than anything.
It is. I really liked how it was animated though. His fingers clicking on the calculator
Yeah,
looked really
yeah.
good.
They were moving.
So, underwater, Gon's going after Leorio. He,
Worth noting, Killa wanted to go along with Gon, and Hanzo said,
Oh, yeah.
no, you come with me. yeah, I need your help.
No, we need you. Yeah, so now we have a Kilo and Hanzo pairing, which I thought was really fun because
Yeah.
when the hell will that ever happen?
Never.
Yeah. Explosive guy, he's blowing up the stuff, exactly what Don was talking about. He's balancing out the water in the hulls to, make it stable or whatever, however you want to call it. Balanced, I don't know. Gon is... Did he get... What happened with Gon? Oh, yeah, so
Gon is
he got pinned down also.
Yeah, he got Leorio pretty much free, but then he got pinned down right away.
Yep.
So, yeah, unlucky.
And
That's a little bit more dangerous though, because he's not even in his suit. He's
yeah, he doesn't have a suit, but he can breathe underwater for 10 hours straight, so he's probably
Yeah,
alright.
so this is the most mind-boggling part of this episode to me. There is no way, shape, or form that scene can ever make sense to me. As is, how
Well.
can you tell me that Gon survives that?
He did it.
I guess. Main character needs to live, I suppose, but
Yeah,
that's
he does.
kind of crazy that they did that in the first place.
Yeah. So we have Pokel and Ponzu in
This is a nice
doing
moment.
the electricity thing. Yes, I love this moment. It's very sweet.
Yep.
Pokel is about to pull the lever, and it's well, this could work. It should work. But if it doesn't,
we're fucked.
It's over. There's nothing we can do. And he's just like, the thought of having 24 lives in my hands, it's stressing me the hell out. And then Pokel just puts her hands around his hands on the lever, just kind of nods at him, and then they pull it together. Really sweet.
Very sweet.
I liked that a lot. And it works.
Yeah, power's
Go figure.
On. Engine's running.
Yeah. I love the way these two are characterized. They're so sweet. And it makes me all the more sad that they both get horrific deaths later.
Well, that's Chimera Ant for you.
It sure is. They deserved happiness.
They did, but unlucky. Happy characters don't get to exist in this universe, unfortunately.
I guess not. So yeah, power's on. Things are looking good. Kurapika is getting pumped up. But then, the news comes that Leorio has still not been rescued.
Yeah, Tompa's like keeping an eye out the entire time. Like,
Tompa's kind of a real one, low key during this whole part.
Uncharacteristically, but
Yeah, I mean, hey.
I feel like typical Tompa would be like frothing at the mouth and like, these rookies are gonna die here. Let's go, But
it seemed, I feel like just like the writing team for this filler was like, okay, we can't have Tompa being Tompa in this arc or else it will not work. So let's just kind of forget about that for a couple episodes.
It's a little weird, but I get it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what happened. So another cool moment here underwater. Gon is the one knocked out now, and Leorio kind of comes to, luckily, like insane luck. And he gives Gon, he unplugs his oxygen and gives it to Gon, so he wakes up. Which, dude, what a gamble, because Gon wasn't knocked out because he couldn't breathe. So like, if if that didn't work. You're dead, Leorio.
Series ends.
Yeah, you're both dead. But whatever, it worked. I guess he needed oxygen, even though that's not what knocked him out. But
nothing about this scene makes sense if you think about it. You have to watch it with your brain off, kind of. But. Yeah,
including the next part. This is more of a nitpick. I like it, but it's just like Killua somehow just kind of knows. Yeah, I think it's actually cool, but it doesn't make sense at all. Whatever.
Yeah, I can summarize it quickly. So yeah, Kurapika is back under decision paralysis. Basically, he's thinking that Leorio and Gon are cooked at this point, right? Like they're dead probably, or they're going to die. And Hanzo's like freaking out the entire time. Like, dude, like we're taking on water. If the shells get wet, they won't fire. Like, you need to fire now. Like, give the order. Kurapika's not doing it. And then Killua just kind of chimes in out of nowhere saying, Kurapika, Gon is coming up with Leorio. Okay. And Kurapika immediately says, okay, sure. And then just starts giving the orders. That's all he needed.
And,
interesting.
I think it's a really cool moment where it's that understanding, like, okay, I got it. Killua says it's true, so it's true. And you could also say, Killua just said that to get Kurapika in motion, but there is a moment before he even says that where his eyes kind of like open, like as Leorio and Gon start swimming to the surface. So like he did feel something,
but like
I guess it's like what did he feel? This is nitpicking. I feel like Cinema Sins right now. Whatever. It's just like it's your close friends. It's a friend link. Whatever. Who cares? It's an anime.
Power friendship. He knew he believed.
Yeah, power friendship.
Guess, whatever. I guess I don't know. It did read off to me as very weird in the moment though when watching it. Like that doesn't really make sense, but okay.
Yeah, you roll with it.
Yeah.
Now Kurapika is in full gear. He's issuing commands. He's like, he feels like a real leader, which is really cool.
You will fire my command, and then 45 seconds later, you will fire again, stuff like that. He's going all out.
Yeah. And there's a little moment where Hanzo's like, "What the hell did you just do?" And he was like, "I don't think I was lying." So that's fun.
Yeah.
So Kurapika's doing the countdown to fire the cannons, and Cyper, does it, and Gon and Leorio presumably make it back on board. Well,
yeah,
actually,
with the help of Garetta, right? That we got to talk about.
yes, yeah. Garetta is kind of a homie here, and they, they're like near the shore, or near, not shore, but near the boat, but not quite there yet. Mm-hmm. And Garetta goes out of his way to get the two of them, and Tompa actually, he's there too.
Yeah.
Garetta and Tompa get the two of them aboard. And Gon and Garetta have kind of a little moment there of just like mutual respect.
Yeah, he was like, that makes us even, kid, or something like that.
Yeah. But, unfortunately, before they get Gon back on, they got Leorio, but before they get Gon back on, the ship hits a rock. And Gon goes overboard again. And Kurapika also slams his head into a wall and is knocked out.
Yeah, he's out. Like
he's done.
light.
He's bleeding from the head. Yeah, he's out. People are trying to get in contact with him, just nothing.
And then, Hanzo at this point is just like, okay, what the hell do we do now? Like, Kurapika's not answering. And Killua, again, just being a genius in the moment, is just, Hanzo, fire into the water spout.
Yeah, he has like another mind link moment. Just, all right. I don't know what the 99 anime was implying about Killua. I guess these are like assassin senses or whatever. But
yeah. But to his credit, he does give an explanation after Hanzo's like, what? Like, and he's like, basically, it might straighten up the ship from hitting the rock, and it might also change the direction of the water spout. So, as he puts it, two birds in one stone.
Yeah. It's a gamble, but everything they do right now is a gamble, so whatever.
Yeah,
just do it.
Yeah. Just do it.
Meanwhile, Gon's about to die, but then Hisoka grabs him, which I thought was cool.
This was a cool looking scene. Like, it's just the shot of the arm, and he's like, wait,
yeah.
And then it's like very quickly, but like, it's Hisoka who saved him.
Yeah, and then like Gon and Hisoka's arms as the cannon fires behind him. That looked sick.
It did look sick. And then,
so cool.
The other half of this event was
weird. Weird who does it, but it's if this was Kilo, I think it'd make more sense. But whatever, who cares? It's cool. Ilumi comes and steers the ship, which is funny. I guess he knows how to steer a ship. Sure. Yeah. I mean, how does Kurapika know how to do that too? So I guess whatever.
No, yeah, he like opens his eyes like briefly before passing out, and you see Ilumi in his actual design right there.
Yeah, you see actual Ilumi. I was really surprised about that. I thought they'd just keep him as Gitarocker, but no, we get to see Ilumi a little early. We'll see him very soon anyways, but
yeah, we don't hear his voice yet, but we finally see his design, and not the colors I was expecting for 99, honestly.
Yeah, he's red
and black. That's okay.
Looks nice.
A little opposite from 2011, but it works.
Yeah, I like it. And yeah, Ilumi, I don't know why he's not in his Gitarocker form. It's whatever, it's just a little tease.
Easier to move around, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
Granted, literally everything about the Gitarocker form is like, why?
Yeah,
when you think about it.
I think it's Killua. You didn't want him to know he was there.
Well, yeah, that was the purpose, but like, I don't know. Surely there was a better design he could have done. Like,
he was feeling a little silly.
Yeah, a little silly Ilumi action.
So he gives first aid to Kurapika as well. What a homie.
Yeah, bandaged him up.
I'm assuming Hisoka told him to do that because I don't think he would do that on his own.
No,
but
not at all.
Who knows? And yeah, I mean, everybody wakes up. Gon doesn't really know who saved him.
And he doesn't question it either. He's just like, oh,
yeah, he's just like, all right, I made it. He probably just thinks, oh yeah, I did that. Yeah. I'm awesome.
But Hisoka tells Ilumi good work. He's just
yeah.
Yeah.
You see a little more of Ilumi there. I guess that's to like directly confirm to the viewers that like, oh yeah, Gitarocker is this guy.
Yeah.
Which is cool.
Yeah.
And get a nice shot of the sunrise. Everybody's celebrating their victory as we see the airship coming back, and Kurapika and Hanzo shake hands on a job well done, which again little thing there because these two will work together much later, much later.
Yeah, that's the cool part to me about this.
Yeah, also on a boat, by the way.
Yeah, also on a boat.
Which, yeah, that's cool.
Now I need a future Hanzo dialogue and a future chapter to talk about Wa. That's my hope.
Yes, please talk about Wa. And we just end with Lipo saying Lipo's customized bonus stage.
Yeah, our bonus part of the third phase. I have no idea why this relates to the third phase, and it's just not a completely different phase. But we don't question it, right?
Yeah, it happened. It is what it is.
It is filler after all. This episode was much better than 19, I thought, in my opinion.
I agree. I really like this episode.
Granted, there's still some aspects about this episode that, again, if you think too hard about it, it's just going to seem really stupid at points, like the Leorio, like Gon stuff, or just anytime they're underwater in general. I don't know how they can hold their breath for that long. But, little things like that, little characterization stuff. But it was fun enough for, considering that it is filler and kind of judging it off of the basis of that. I thought it was fun, at least, which is about all you could ask for out of filler. So I enjoyed myself.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this quite a bit. I mean, the arc's over now, so I guess we can just talk about it in full. Yeah. I think it's a nice little diversion. I just like getting more time with the participants. It makes Zevil Island more effective to me because we know all of the participants a lot better than we did in the original source material.
I don't know if it's going to affect my judgment or enjoyment of Zevil Island really at all. I think, I think this is, because Zevil Island in of itself is very segmented as well. So I don't feel like seeing more of like the dynamics between these characters is going to really uplift that any more than just it being on its own in the first place. That's just my opinion, though. You could agree or disagree with me or challenge that however you see fit. But this arc as a whole for me was just okay, I think. Again, I enjoyed this one episode, the last episode of this arc, just because there was a lot of stuff going on and a lot of moving parts, and it was just like it was mostly engaging from start to finish, right? The first other two episodes of this arc, though, were kind of just to me. I think in retrospect, especially. I don't know. It seems unnecessary to me, and I can't really look past that. As much as I had fun with some parts of the arc. And that's the nature of filler. I know it is unnecessary by nature, but I don't know. That's all I can really say about it.
I don't know. I'm way more hot on it. I thought it was really fun. I really like it. I like this idea of, like I already said this, but bringing the group together before breaking them apart. I think that adds a lot, especially to the fact that Garetta is, or Gon is Garetta's target later, and they have this kind of mutual respect for each other here. I hope to see that come back around.
That part I can agree that could add some amount to spice to Zevil Island for that part in particular, for the inevitable Garetta, Gon, event, I guess is the best way to put it. But I don't know. Everybody else I could have taken it or leave it. Again, fun for what it was for me, but I think I just maybe it's hard to put my feelings into words because again, I just kind of thought it was whatever at the end of the day. But I don't know, some enjoyable moments, some parts where I was just kind of a little bit bored or just going through the motions. So that's just me though.
Yeah, fair enough. I don't know. And we just kind of disagree here. I mean, I don't think it's incredible. I don't think it's amazing, but I like it. I thought it was fun.
The best way I can put it is that even like the aspects of like the getting the team together and getting them all to work together, like none of it was particularly like interesting to me, and I think a lot of that is just due to the environment that they're on. Like there's only so much, like I mean, I'm just not big into boats, I guess. Maybe that's the moral of the story. But like, I just didn't really find any of the tasks and jobs that they were doing to be like particularly interesting to me. It was just, I think that led to the boringness aspect to it. Aside from like when like people's lives were in danger or whatever.
Yeah, the boredom part is where I fundamentally disagree, because I enjoyed myself through all 3 of the episodes.
I'm not saying all of it was boring, but I'm saying there was a lot of monotonous and boring parts sprinkled in throughout that kind of added up over time for me. And so I can look at some of the, you know, the moments that I did enjoy, like the Karapika, you know, kind of like, you know, being like crashing out essentially, you know, over like the impending doom, right? Or like the Hisoka and Ilumi, you know, part, right? I can look at those in a vacuum and be like, yeah, those were cool moments. As whole episodes and as a whole filler arc, though, just wasn't that cohesive to me. I feel like I didn't really care at the end of at the end of it. If my memory were to be wiped from this arc, I don't think I would care if I found out later on.
Yeah, fair enough. I mean, you know, we don't have to agree all the time.
Yeah.
That's all that is.
That's all that is. That's right. Again, it's not the worst thing in the world. I want to make that clear. It's just not for me, I think, overall.
Yeah, fair enough. I'm sure some comments will agree with you too. We'll get there. But for now, we got to finish this last episode here, which I think we can get through pretty quickly. It's just Seville Island, but we start off with, you know, as we're back to canon, like this, I was immediately like, okay, you could probably just skip that arc and it's fine. Like because they don't really acknowledge it yet. They might in future episodes, but it really is just seamless. Like you could go from that last episode of Trick Tower to this and nothing would change. You
wouldn't miss anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
At least as we know right now.
Yeah, that could change because this is only the first episode of Seville Island, but we'll see. They draw their lots. We know how this goes. They get a target, and it's a badge number of another participant. And if you get that, that's enough points to pass automatically, right? I think you just need that.
Well, so it's that
your own.
You need the overall objective is you need 6 points to pass this phase. If you have your own badge on you still by the end of it, that's 3 points. If you have the person that you're assigned, assigned to hunt, their badge, that's also 3 points.
Right.
So if you have those,
you're good.
If you have those, you're good. But every applicant's badge that you're not assigned to is worth 1 point. So you could technically also get 6 points through that if you hunted a lot of people that weren't your target.
Yep. And so technically Lipo's kind of just the proctor for this one too, because this never really had a proper proctor. It's because, I mean, what's the proctor gonna do here? They're all just on their own.
You leave them to their own devices and then you see who survives.
Yeah. So this episode is called Fourth Phase 44 Number of Death, which I quite like because
wild title.
So everybody's like taking off their badges, like, oh shit, I can't let people know what my badge number is, yada yada. He explains the rules that we just talked about, and we got a little bit of foreshadowing, like Gon's he feels a little uneasy about what he got.
Yeah, I mean, we see it immediately. He got 44.
Do they just show it? I didn't even notice.
They show it, yeah.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Yeah, they just show it. Yeah, so if you know... yeah, I forgot about that part. So yeah, if you know Hisoka's badge number, you're like, well, shit. That ain't good.
That's not good. Nope. And Gon realizes that too, like, oh, fuck, like, I got a bad draw.
Yeah. So, and this is a part I quite like. We have, the boat is on its way to Seville Island, and we kind of just have everybody on their own. And this, I think, this is why the filler adds something to this, I feel, because now this group that just became really tight with each other is now they're separated because they're about to be each other's targets, and none of them know which one of them their target could be.
Okay, just to touch on that briefly, like, riddle me this then, I guess. Like, what makes you think that the group got all of a sudden, like, really, outside of, like, maybe select characters like Hanzo, right? What makes you think that they all got, like, really tight-knit specifically after that whole event?
No, I'm not. You're over-exaggerating. I don't think they're tight, but they were friendly with each other. Like they just had a big victory together. They celebrated with each other.
That didn't really read to me like that. I didn't really see, they weren't really celebrating by the end of it. They're just like, yeah, we got through it, thank God. To me, it read as if just working together purely out of necessity for the majority of the applicants, which is why I feel like it doesn't do anything for me going into Zevil Island. Just I wanted to elaborate on that specifically while you were touching on that. Yeah.
Fair.
That's it.
Fair. I mean, yeah, a lot of them for sure, but also a lot of them definitely were happy about working
surviving.
together.
They were happy about surviving, not working together. That's how it reads to me.
Fair enough.
They were fighting out of necessity.
Fair enough. So Tompa comes up to Leorio and Kurapika and kind of starts briefing them on some people. Talking about the Amori brothers, how they're good at cooperation, and Garetta, who has a blow dart, which I guess is dangerous.
Whoa, he has a blowgun. Watch out, guys.
Oh, shit.
Be careful of that blowgun.
And then obviously Hisoka is a problem.
Yeah, even Tompa's like, yep, that's the biggest threat. whoever
his
target is, and whoever his target is, and whoever has him, they are boned.
Yep. Cut to Gon, who we know has it. And Killua comes up to him, and they're like, they kind of tease each other, like, what's your badge number? And they act like they're not going to tell each other. But then they laugh about it, and they say that they'll show each other on 3. They do that. And Killua has 199, it's one of the Amori brothers, if I remember correctly. And
chumps.
He doesn't know that. Yeah. And Gon has Hisoka, so.
And yeah, Killua was like, dude, seriously?
Yeah, dude. Meanwhile, they're trying to figure out who Killua has. They don't know. Doesn't matter. Killua's going to be fine.
Okay.
Gon's the important one here. This is Zevil Island is Gon's
absolutely
time to shine. This is all him. So I love this too. We have Killua kind of like hangs over the back of the back side of the edge, and he looks up at Gon's face. It's like, sun shining down. It's like a smirk, like a half smile, but also he's got like beads of sweat. So he's excited, but he's nervous.
Yeah, understandably so.
Yeah. Oh, and he even asks, like, are you scared or excited? Wow, it's communicated really effective. I forgot he said that, but I could just tell that that's what was happening in his mind based on that expression. That's funny. And he says a little bit of both, I guess. So exactly what I said. So
yeah.
That's sick.
I gotta say, like, at this point in the episode, and this persists throughout the rest of this episode too, they really brought out the colors for this episode. This is a very bright episode. Yeah,
it is very bright, which is unusual for this series.
Kind of refreshing, coming off of some of those prior episodes. But yeah.
And then we see a shot of a whale in the distance, and I was thinking of the black whale, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool. Reference, foreshadowing.
Whoa.
And then they get to Zevil Island, which has an interesting shape. I did not remember it looking like that.
Me neither, but, I won't question it.
Yeah.
It's just an island, I suppose.
So they disembark. They go off in the order that they got out of Trick Tower with. And Hisoka obviously goes off first, and then Gon notices the butterflies are kind of sticking to his clothes. We'll get to that later.
Yeah.
Interesting. And then the rest of them go off, whatever. It's just normal stuff. They go in the order, and we get to where. Oh, what's up?
Well, we find out very quickly as well that Garetta is hunting Gon as.
After Gon steps off. Yep. Gon notices like somebody jumping from a tree or whatever. And
and Garetta's like, "Oh, that kid's sharp. I guess I'll take my time."
That was close. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's. Gon is Garetta's target. He licks his lips, which is interesting. Freak.
Yeah, freak. Yeah.
So, Gon's just kind of chilling in a tree, and then he notices two applicants, one of them being Pokal. And Pokel appears to be hunting the one guy. I think it's the explosives expert from
Yeah.
before. Yeah.
It was the same guy, pretty sure.
Yep.
Red nose dude. That's
Yeah,
how I remember.
Red Nose Rudolph.
Yeah, Rudolph.
And Pokel has a bow and arrow. I guess he had that with him. I'm not really, whatever.
He's always had a bow and arrow. Yeah. That's always been a part of his design. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it's just I knew he had it before, but it's throwing me off because he didn't have it in the filler arc before.
Oh, okay, I see.
So it's a little I guess there's a downside. There's an inconsistency, but he's hunting this guy with a bow and arrow. You can very clearly see that it's like coated in something, which is cool. Extremely well animated segment here.
Yeah,
fires the arrow. You see like the blades of grass reacting to the arrow as it whizzes by. And it seems like it hit him, but it didn't. It actually only grazed his arm. So the dude
charges at Pokel. Yeah. This looks well animated too. Just like the grass being cut and.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
So cool.
Great.
Just like the like on the back swing of the sword, it'll like cut blades of grass. It looked so cool.
Yeah, they took their time animating this one. I can tell for sure.
Yeah, but, it looked great. It has me so excited for future action scenes.
Like when they lock in, they can lock in regardless of how quick the scene is.
Yeah.
This is a very quick scene as Rudolph here basically falls to his knees almost immediately after. And
he's shit talking Pokel, but his the arrow was laced and he's done for. He slumps over.
He says, "Yeah, you're not gonna be able to walk for a week, man. Sorry. Have fun."
Yeah, but there's water nearby.
How nice of him and how gracious. Yeah. Paralyze him near water.
And he picked up his badge, and maybe that was his target, maybe it wasn't. That doesn't really matter. We know he passes anyways. So. And Gon is trying to learn a lesson from this. He's trying to pick up strategies on how he'll deal with Hisoka from this, and he's getting the inkling of an idea here, but he's not quite hasn't quite gotten it quite yet.
Slow learner. It's okay.
Yeah.
Garetta's still watching him on. He said a really like not interesting, but like the line is kind of leading off of this filler arc. I still don't know what to officially call that arc. Also, by the way, I don't think we ever got a name for the ship. So
no, I don't think so.
I don't really know what to call it. Hotel
bonus round.
Hotel ship arc. Bonus round. Yeah, that works too. Garetta says like yesterday's ally, today's enemy, or something like that.
Yeah, so I guess there's a little something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm still hoping there's more. Anyways, Leorio's walking. He notices Tompa. This scene's not important. Tompa, whatever. He's a joke. He has a master plan. Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, he's like, target's been sighted or something like that.
Yeah.
Leorio obviously does not fall for his tricks here.
No, and he will unfortunately fall for it kind of later. He'll half fall for it, but we'll get there when we get there. Back to the important stuff. Gon is practicing. He's target practicing with something. I was wondering what these were. Just like balls of fuzz. I don't really know.
What are those?
I don't know. I was really racking my brain. I guess it's just some fantasy thing because I don't know.
Some kind of material that can a fishing rod can hook through, I guess. But like I don't know what the hell that could be.
Clay?
They all have faces designed.
He drew faces on them.
Or
maybe he didn't draw. Maybe they are just like that. I don't know.
I have no idea what they are.
He's doing that, and he realizes, okay, this is pointless because Hisoka's not going to be standing still.
Yeah.
So he starts swinging like a something else from a tree.
Yeah, he ties something to a tree branch and has it swinging
another
around.
Mysterious object. He does that, and he's like, well, I mean, Hisoka's not going to be walking back and forth continuously, so that's not going to work either.
I always love this little like build up of going like kind of realizing what to do because like it hits close to home to me because like do you remember Kaige learning your first fighting game and having these kind of same realizations of like I I'm hitting on this training dummy, but like they're gonna be actually doing shit the entire time. So like I need to learn something else.
That's so true. Yeah, it's pretty relatable. Just like baby
Yeah.
steps you're learning.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very real portrayal of learning something. I think it's awesome.
Yeah. So Gon realizes, well, I guess he's gonna dodge out of the way in like an unpredictable way. So now I need to figure that out.
Yeah, and he realizes that by throwing his fishing rod at a frog, and the frog dodges out of the way, and he's just like, well, shit, duh, they're gonna dodge.
I love him.
So yeah, he's the best. So then he's just chilling. He's watching the birds, and I mean he doesn't do anything here. He goes to sleep later on. Then we see Garetta about to make a move, and man, why didn't you make a move before?
It's important to say also though that what Gon was doing is basically saying, okay, if I can't catch a bird, like a moving bird, then I'm not going to be able to catch Ahsoka's badge.
Oh, right.
That's his goal at the moment. He's trying to figure out a way to actually,
to catch a bird. Yep, yes. Catch a bird. Yep. Garetta, he could have taken a shot here. I really, truly believe so.
Yeah, but this is some like I don't know, a miracle on Gon, but like he was like dreaming about Mito this entire time, and like he like woke up like from like hallucinating Mito in his dream, I guess. I don't know, and that scared off Garetta because he woke up.
But like he had to have been sleeping for like a couple minutes at least. Like he couldn't have shot him then. I don't
know. Garetta's just stupid, I think. But
Garetta is like going standing still for a lot of this, and
that's
true. You could say he'll dodge, but well, I guess that's just it.
Maybe you could rationalize it by Garetta was waiting an appropriate amount of time to make sure that Gon wasn't feigning sleeping, or like he actually enters a deep sleep. Because he has very good
sharp
instincts, right? Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Didn't
You're
work
right.
Regardless, but I could see a bit of a vision there.
No, yeah, you're right. I guess if you actually stop to think about it for a bit, it kind of makes sense. It's still a little bit of a stretch. Like I really do think he's had some genuine opportunities, but whatever.
Either way, a divine intervention on that Mito dream.
Yeah. Shout out to Mito. Anyways, Gon keeps trying, catch a bird, and then he sees the bird catch a fish. He's like, wait a minute, hold up.
Yeah, well, wait, we're cooking now.
The gears are turning. We have a very, like, a million different camera angles and shots of this happening. But
birds catch fish freely, swimming freely. How? Huh? What do the numbers mean?
Yeah. He's running the calculations in his mind, and he comes to the realization like, okay, I can catch Hisoka as he's going for another target, and he does so on the bird as it goes for a fish. He's like, hell yeah!
Wraps it around completely. You got it. So he can surely catch Hisoka now at this point.
Yep.
Because a bird is equal to Hisoka. Remember that.
Yeah, power scalers, don't forget.
But that's pretty much where episode 21 ends off, though. We, figured it out. He has his game plan. Yeah,
good stuff ahead. I'm excited for the next batch. I really like the Zevil Island portion, so that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah. Zevil Island's fun, so I'm curious to see how that'll look here in 99 in its format. But, Yeah, I serviceable episode 21. It's not that different from any other iteration of Hunter x Hunter, for better or for worse. But very bright though, very bright colors compared to usual 99 episodes, which I do enjoy.
Yeah, it looked nice. Really good animation on several scenes. So solid. Yeah, I liked it. No big complaints. No real big positives either. It's an episode. I liked it.
It's the beginning of Zevil Island. That's
What can you say?
Not much else, but it was good though. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, kind of a weird batch because we just like offset the filler by one episode, but whatever. That's
I guess.
The way the tower crumbled or whatever.
The cookie crumbled.
The cookie tower.
The tower crumbled. Like what are?
Trick tower.
Trick Tower. Right.
There's a Hunter x Hunter reference all along. Okay, so that's all we got for these episodes. I don't really have much more to add about them, unless you do.
No, not really. I feel like we had a good discussion already on the filler as is, so I think we could both kind of know our thoughts on that at this point. And then Zevo Island is Zevo Island. So
It sure is.
I don't really have much else. I'm looking forward to the rest of Zevo Island, but that's about as much as I can say.
Yeah, we're not there yet. All right, well, let's keep the conversation going and see what you guys had to say about it then.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. Okay, now it's time to read what you guys have to say about Hunter x Hunter 99 episodes 19 through 21. Usual reminder, if you want to get in on the fun and discussion from week to week on any given topic, make sure you keep an eye out for the YouTube community posts, as well as keep an eye out for call-out posts on Twitter and Bluesky. And of course, if you're an audio-only listener with no access to social media at all for whatever reason, you can email us at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com for any given topic. So first up, we just have YouTube community posts comments this week. But first up is from Cell Weaver saying, I really liked how Kurapika is portrayed here. Maybe biased because he's my comfort character / crush. Hey, I get it. Yeah. But I loved how emotional he got when he was worried about Leorio and when he found the codependent. It was interesting seeing all the Hunter examinees work together and bounce off each other. Even seeing Tompa saving Gon surprised me. This is one of my favorite filler episodes.
I'm right there with you. Dylan's not, but I am.
I want to make it clear. There were some things I enjoyed about this filler. It just wasn't very cohesive throughout that enjoyment. I feel like there was a lot of monotony in between those moments, and that's what kind of gets me. That's it. That's all.
That's fair. Yeah, I agree. I am a big fan of how Kurapika was portrayed here. He is like kind of insanely smart to a distracting degree, but
yeah, that's a good way of putting it. To a distracting degree, it's not a bad thing, but like, how much can he do? Like, I'm questioning it every time now.
Yeah,
I think that's more of a 99 specific predicament though than even just this one filler, because I feel like he's been characterized that way a few different times now in some of these episodes.
Yeah, you're right. I think you're right. I wonder if that'll continue.
I wonder, yeah. York New will be interesting.
Yes, I'm excited. All right, next up is from Magitech, who says, "What's this? Ponzu and Pokol going on a mission together? Hanzo and Kurapika teaming up on a big ship? I thought I was watching the Hunter exam." Hey. Yeah. Okay. Now that Lipo's bonus round is over, I feel I can talk about this as a whole. I've been wanting to say this for a while, so if you'll excuse me, ahem. This is how you make a Hunter x Hunter movie. It's 3 episodes, or around 60 minutes. The interactions are solid. The stakes are serious. It lets characters you probably never think twice about shine a little. It bends, but doesn't break what is established, and not only does it fit in the timeline of events, it fits thematically with those events.
This stretch of 3 episodes are better than the movies. I will give you that.
Yeah, you better agree with that.
Not a very high bar, but it is much better.
And you're definitely getting it. What I was talking about too here with this next one. He says, this test, learn to work together to survive. Next test, battle royale. Everyone's a target. Go hunt each other. Going into more detail, episode 9. First of, I love all the light in this episode. From the bright, heavy light of summer to the mellow sunset to the intense and cold blue and grays of the storm. Yeah, great point. Weather is drawn very well in these episodes.
Absolutely. That I'll give that a ton of credit all day, every day. This stretch of episodes in particular were really well, the art choices that they had for some of these scenes were really, really nice. So
yeah,
I dig it.
Well directed, well lighted.
Yes.
Going into Ponzu and Pokol, I've always wondered who did it first, or who did who first, since in the manga they have 0 interaction till the Chimera Ant arc. Did Togashi have the idea to use the 2 in the future and told the animation staff about it, or did the anime do this independently and Togashi was, they're cute, I'll use them later? I'm inclined for the latter, since even here, the old-timey radio Pokel's using is not dissimilar to the one we see in his flashback in the Chimera Ant arc. Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's a nice little... Okay. I forgot about that. Very small
Yeah.
detail there, but, could be related.
But yeah, I'm inclined to agree with that. I already talked about that. But yeah, I feel like he saw this and was like, hell yeah. I ship it too. Side note, I was incredibly disappointed when I found out this entire arc wasn't canon, and the monkey paw moment when I saw them again at the start of the Chimera Ant arc.
Oh, so you thought it was canon at first? That's funny.
I bet a lot of people who watched this first did.
Yeah, I mean, probably. You're not wrong.
Yeah. Hanzo and Kurapika, I always found funny that none of the MCs are the de facto leader. Instead, it's Hanzo. True, but I like that. I do too. I love Hanzo.
Hanzo's just a natural leader just from his character in general, so it makes sense.
Yeah. He's got charisma. Kurapika doesn't have that.
No. I love Kurapika, but he does not have as much charisma as Hanzo, unfortunately.
No. From Leorio rallying everyone else to their cause and Kurapika being the second in command. After all, the second in command is the base for any operation, as said in Yu Yu Hakusho. That's right.
I'll take your word for it.
Just like in the regular series, nothing is static. Everyone is moving. Greta trying to fix his little motorboat, the brother and their hot air balloon, and the rest fixing their ship. Yes, they actually had more people passing the last exam in order to have some fodder here. I was wondering about
point.
that.
Yeah.
That's
funny. So
funny. Once again, the background art is great. The visuals of the upside down sunset is memorable and unnerving. Yeah, I forgot to talk about that. That's a really cool visual.
That was a cool little scene there. I'm surprised we didn't talk about that.
I know, yeah. Love the detail of Greta getting ready to sail, and in seconds the tide had already caught him. It really shows just how insane this cyclone was. And of course, cyclone. It wasn't a tornado or a hurricane. It was a cyclone. That makes sense. It was on water.
Yeah. I mean, I think Kurapika described it as it's literally like a whirlpool mixed with a water spout.
Yeah.
So basically a cyclone, but yeah.
Yeah, basically. And of course, he gets rescued by Gon, and them being rescued by Botaro and Gozu, the bros. Botaro, yeah, that's his name. Gozu, I'll never remember that, but whatever. Botaro, I know because he's in the top 8 later.
Yeah.
The final moments of the episode with everyone pulling together and Greta getting humbled was great, but this is not over yet. Episode 20, the visuals on this episode, the animation on the machinery, breathtaking, for sure. This episode is full of character moments emphasized by the tension of the situation. Kurapika being a genius of cerebral magnitude, calculating the time they had till the storm hits them on the fly, and him shouting orders into the intercoms. Leorio having to abandon treasure for ammunition, and him almost giving his life to save Gon. Hell yeah. Oh yeah. You know what? The treasure thing too. Yeah, that was probably worth mentioning. I honestly didn't really pick up on that, but yeah, he I don't think there was any timeline where he would have went after that treasure, but there was treasure down there.
Yeah.
And he did look at it.
I like that moment just to kind of emphasize more to the fact that, money is important to Leorio, and he'd give that up for the sake of, progressing on and, for his friends and whatnot, right? Just good characterization there, but, very small moment, all things considered.
Yeah, pretty small, but yeah, a good little subtle thing. Gon also almost giving his life to save Leorio and being rescued by Tonpa, which plus him covering his eyes last time makes me think that this version of him actually got endeared to Gon like many others. That's a sweet thought.
That's an interesting take. I don't agree with it, I think, but
I don't either, but that is sweet to think about, and you know what? Maybe, but I don't think so.
I think this is just the side effect of filler. That's all I need.
Yeah. And also, I mean, it is the fact that this is a test where you need to work together, and I think given the fact that this is life or death, Tonpa was probably I mean, what am I going to do here? I either work with these people or I'm dead.
Yeah. Right. So. It was all out of necessity, like I was kind of saying earlier.
Yeah.
So, you can read into that as you will for Tonpa.
Yeah. Hisoka rescuing Gon, Ilumi taking the ship and helping Kurapika, which may sound weird with what we know about him, but does make somewhat sense with what the writers would have known about him at the time. Let's remember, soon after this, he had mercy of Gozu and spared his life so that he could have his wish of fighting Hisoka. Yeah, we'll talk about that when we get to it, I guess, but there's an asterisk there, I think. Pretty big one. So him having this sort of respect for others is not that unthinkable. Sure, we'll talk about that when we get to it. But yeah.
Yeah. We have time.
And of course, the couple in the thumbnail, on the community post he's referring to, Ponzu and Pokol. Him being paralyzed with fear of failure, Ponzu putting her hands over his to comfort him, both closing their eyes, just begging for it to work. I love it. I love these two. I love this arc. Same here. That was a very sweet moment. That was probably my favorite moment in the arc, honestly. And I could keep going. I could talk about Hanzo and Killua interacting a lot throughout this, super firing a battleship into a hurricane. All I can say is that when I first watched this as a kid, I ended up wishing everyone there would end up becoming a hunter eventually and having my dreams crushed the very next episode. Hey, that's another good thing to think about. This makes you root for like all these people because you as the audience are endeared to a lot of them. Even if you don't agree that they kind of were endeared to each other, this does a lot for a lot of those smaller characters, I think.
It's hard for me to comment on that without like predetermined bias coming into play, I think. Like I can't watch this as like a first time experience, especially, which it sounds like this comment kind of maybe had as like maybe this was a part of their first introduction to Hunter x Hunter in general. In which case I could see an argument being made there for sure. But like I don't know. This arc didn't really endear me to any characters I wasn't already endeared to before, if I'm being completely real. But that's just me.
Fair enough. Oh yeah, there's still one more episode. Episode 21, not much to say here, I think. It's not that different from the original story, so just some highlights. The animation of Poco hunting Q. His name's Q, I guess, not, what do we call him?
Rudolph.
Rudolph.
Yeah.
I like Rudolph better. His name's Rudolph.
Yeah.
Has some solid animation, and Gon thinking of Mito to renew his resolve are solid moments. And there's a few more throughout.
Yeah, that Mito moment was a anime original, right? Like that wasn't in the manga.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thank you for the comment. That was a good one.
Yeah, good comment. Thank you. Okay. Next comment is from Xander saying, just typed a long ass comment, hit send, my internet went out for that one moment I commented, it didn't get posted properly, so now I have to type it all over again.
Damn, bro.
We've all been there. It's fine. Anyway, I'm glad YouTube was good this time. Recommended this post to me. Last time it didn't.
Yes, welcome back, Xander. Good to have you
welcome
back.
Glad YouTube was working again.
Yes.
I know everyone will say this, but I gotta say this. Did you know that Togashi wanted to include this section in the manga originally? Where? Huh? Wait. I need a source for this. I need a source. I don't know if I believe that just like off of like.
Yeah, I'm gonna need a source. Hit us back with the source.
I would love. I'm not doubting you, but like I'm.
Yeah, I want to see that for myself.
Yeah, exactly. That's interesting though if that is the case. This is my favorite filler section so far. So far, you say. No complaints, no nitpicks. I like seeing all the different characters in a collaborative challenge. It gave spotlight to some of the most obscure ones, like the Sniper Girl. It's kind of cool to see them all here, knowing what their fate will be a few episodes from now, lol. Mm-hmm. That Ponzu and Poco moment was really nice. I'm sure nothing bad will happen to them in the future.
Nah.
Not at all. Happy lives, right?
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of Kurapika and Hanzo leading the group. It's such a logical choice. The anime team did a great job choosing them. It also kind of foreshadows their role in the Succession War a little bit, with them collaborating and whatnot. Yes, it kind of does. I'm not a shipper, but after seeing how hard this adaptation is pushing the Kurapika Leorio vibes, I see where the shippers are coming from.
Yeah, it's a lot more apparent than 99 for sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not used to seeing it pushed like that, but it's fun. I won't lie.
Yeah, I'm down for it.
Hisoka saving Gon and that little glimpse of Illumi without his weird transfiguration disguise. Hey, hop off Gita Rocker. Put some respect
that's
on
my
Gita Rocker.
goat.
was a really cool touch. Of course, the two most powerful people there step up only at the very last moment when absolutely necessary. Yeah, I mean, that's in character for them, for sure. Also, the obligatory gushing about the look of the show moment. These episodes look so good, especially during that sunset moment. The lightning, the backgrounds, peak vibes, man.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. And episode 21, not much to say, except the art style was kind of different here and more similar to the manga. Yeah, that's what I didn't really want to say that, but like the brighter colors definitely gave off more of like, this is like kind of ripped from the manga almost. Like,
yeah, and also I would say like softer lines just on the characters.
The animation and just the drawings in general felt a lot less rigid, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But I didn't want to, I wasn't confident in kind of like putting that thought out there, but I was definitely thinking about that. Yeah, it almost looks like they swapped their character design sheets with the manga ones. Some shots look drawn by Togashi himself. Not that I mind, of course. Yeah, no, that's a very good point.
Yeah, it was a really nice looking episode.
Yeah, thank you for the comment, Sander. Glad YouTube is working for you. Hope to see you on future posts as well.
Yes, thank you very much. And I agree. I'm right there with you guys that liked this filler.
Yeah.
Next up is from Kitty Milu on YouTube, but we know her as Milu Kitty, of course. Who says, "Man, I'm seeing the series dub in my language, and they all sound like super grown gentlemen. It's so funny. I didn't know it was if there was a dub for my country. I never saw it on TV. I'm experiencing FOMO after this." That sounds hilarious. I love this phase of the exam. It's funny seeing Ilumi helping the group. Well, sorta. I mean, well, actually, he helps them a hell of a lot more than Hisoka does, at least. He steers the whole boat.
Yeah.
Gon, my boy, he's so sweet, always helping others. Fun fact, they use a cool word we don't usually say because the old diving suit Leorio wears in Spanish is, oh, here we go, escafandra. And I think that's beautiful.
Sounds right to me.
Yeah.
But that is
hell yeah.
Yeah, interesting.
I don't know the significance of that, but it sounds cool.
Yeah. But for the rest of the comment, I forget that there's like multiple dubs of this series too. So like I'm curious what they all sound like to some extent.
Yeah, and they're all older dubs. I keep meaning to go and listen to some moments for the English dub, but I haven't gotten around to. I just want to know what everybody sounded like.
Yeah. I want to as well, but I haven't gotten around to it also. Also, I'm kind of realizing as we're reading through his comments, I'm getting a higher and higher likelihood of getting shot in the comments for this episode, for my take on this filler. So, be nice to me, guys. That's all I gotta say.
Let's see what happens.
Next up, we have a comment from Chaos D-Tank. Hey, Jesse, how you doing? First of all, just want to say it makes me glad you all are watching the 1999 version. Back in 2013, when I was getting into anime, Hunter x Hunter 1999 was one of my first series. Oh, whoa. That's interesting. Back when 2011 was a thing. It's the most shocking part to me about that.
Yeah.
Back then, I had thought these two were the same and that Hunter x Hunter was just a long-running series. Oh, okay. I get it now. I didn't realize this until I got to the OVAs, where I was so confused on where the rest of the episodes that people were talking about. Back then, this was when Chimera Ant was still happening. With that said, I still have memories of this version, especially the amazing soundtrack and how it looks in general. Now, to talk about the episodes, it was unfortunate to find out this was filler when watching the 2011 version. These episodes had a lot of fun moments between Leorio and Kurapika, Tompa switching rooms with Ponzu, only to get Hisoka's room, and by the end, when the ship gets damaged, everyone is helping out, including Ilumi. Just fun episodes that added to the Hunter exam IMO. I did forget about the hotel swapping part. That was a lot of fun in that episode. I will give credit to
you liked that first episode.
I was big on that part in particular, but I think it's the fact that like everything else about that episode now, I've kind of just, it's been forgotten about since then almost, and I feel like that doesn't like sit well with me almost to a certain extent. Hey, listen, don't shoot me, guys, okay? Well, I did enjoy parts of it. I want to make that clear.
Hey, Chaos E-Tank, you have a direct line to Dylan, so you can let him have it.
Oh my god. Privately, I will accept any criticism. But
Alright.
be nice.
No,
to
go
the
easy
public,
on
guys.
Dylan. I'm serious, guys. Don't be mean. Dylan's a
Or
good
be.
lad.
I could get a good laugh out of it.
Yeah, he can take it. He can take it.
I can take it.
All right. Do you want to split this next one up like by each
Ooh.
screenshot?
Yeah, we can do that. That's fine if you want to start us off.
Yeah, we'll probably do the same for insert names too. All right. So this next one comes from Phil. Let's see.
Fillard Millmore.
Fillard Millmore. Yep, there you go. Says this comment is very long. I am sorry. Well, we're gonna read it. Should this comment be featured, it is. It will be my first contribution to one of these videos. I was referred to in the previous 99 video as an alienated viewer after I left a comment on the Greed Island card video expressing my curiosity about Leo Dog's manga panels. That's correct. Okay. Being a big Hunter x Hunter movie hater, and thus being drawn to those reviews, and being intrigued by Leo Dog's comics, I watched a lot of your videos in quick succession, so I'm mostly caught up on the lore of this podcast now. Welcome.
There was a lot, I'm sure. I'm sorry.
That's a lot of hours. I couldn't imagine. We're going on like 40 episodes. This comment will be long, but you already have resident long commenters, so perhaps it's not unique in that regard. It certainly isn't.
We need the battle between Fillard Millmore and insert name coming up soon.
Yeah, watch out. Overall, when it comes to 99, I sometimes have critiques, but I also often find that the flaws I do identify are more amusing than anything else. That's a very good observation. I think it's because Hunter x Hunter has a more faithful adaptation in 2011, though not perfect, so I don't mind when 99 decides to do its own thing, even if it would have made for a less cohesive, complete story if it were, say, continued to chapter 340 like 2011 was. But it wasn't, so who cares? I kind of agree exactly with that. Yeah, like we have 2011, so whatever.
Yeah, the retrospect definitely helps 99's case as time goes on, I feel like.
Yeah. Regarding the filler boat arc, it was very fun to watch. However, something that occurred to me as it played out is whether or not a stage like this would exist in canon material. I read a comment in this post that says Togashi wanted to put this in the manga too, but I couldn't find precise information about that online. Okay, well, there you go.
We might need to do our own research at this point.
Yeah, I'm curious about
conflicting information, no.
It could be true, though, given the mini-arc's inclusion of some stuff that would only return far after 99's end, like Poco and Ponzu's relationship, right? But the reason that the mini-arc struck me as non-canon was the one major aspect that made it distinct from the surrounding tests. What I mean is that the tests that precede and succeed test 3.5 are all very individualistic. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Even Trick Tower's majority rules was analyzed by the characters to be intended to sow division. Mm-hmm. Even if it outwardly appeared to promote collaboration. I know the tests are chosen by the proctors, but the proctors, from a narrative standpoint at the moment, represent the Hunter Association. Essentially, what I'm getting at is that a test that necessitates collaboration, as Hondo unambiguously characterizes it, casts the Hunter Association as an entity aiming to train virtuous habits, while I think a key expository aspect of the Hunter exam arc is the establishment of the idea that you really don't need many good or righteous traits to become a hunter. Contrary to what many may misapprehend. I've never heard that word. I know what it means. That makes sense, but I've never seen that before. Misapprehend going into the series. I'm not saying that hunters don't collaborate. They constantly do over the series, but I wonder if the Hunter Association would want to craft a test that trains these qualities and presents the seeding of power in the selection of a temp leader, as something that ideal hunters should do. I think most readers find themselves thinking about the fact that someone as amoral as Hisoka breezed through the canon exam without a hitch. and that forms an understanding of hunters in general, as well as setting up for conflict about amending the hunter exam way later in the series.
Yeah,
The
that's a
boat
good point.
test, it is for sure. The boat test, by contrast, was something that Hisoka was actually bad at, to the extent that he didn't contribute. So a viewer may be left with the impression that you actually do need selfless traits to become an ideal hunter. Okay, I do agree with half of that, but I won't say that Hisoka was bad at that exam. I feel like he just didn't see a need to involve himself. He kind of just he's above what is happening here. He just wants to see how the others get through it.
I think I agree with pretty much all that you're saying. I just think you maybe chose a poor example with Hisoka because you could definitely read his character specifically as someone who he just does what he wants, regardless. You know,
right.
Like it didn't matter that it was in this setting of teamwork in particular that he was doing that. I don't think that that might be reading into it a bit too much at that point because I think that's just fitting for Hisoka, no matter what the contest was, right? But I do agree though that it is very odd that with all the other phases being very individualistic, that this promotes an idea of trying to train righteousness almost and teamwork, where a very big part of the Hunter Association and just amending the Hunter exam later in the series and stuff like that is that you don't have to be a squeaky clean to be a hunter, and I think that's very important. And this does kind of go against the grain a little bit in that regard, having a phase like this.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that in hindsight. It's quite possible I'm making a mountain of a molehill here, though, and overanalyzing, especially if it turns out that this was Togashi's idea after all. I have doubts about that, but I don't know. And I do actually love this phase overall. Even this nitpick I wrote doesn't detract in the slightest for me. When I think back to 99, I think of Kurapika dramatically unconscious on the floor of that boat and the cool shot of Ilumi driving it. I also think of the scene post Phase 5 when, well, we're not there yet, but when Ilumi falls over in a really goofy way in a hotel, but you'll get to that. Okay.
Sure.
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. So what I'm getting out of not only this comment, but all the other comments we've read is that if you grew up watching 99, this filler hits so much harder, it seems like. And that makes sense, I think. Because I think in that specific situation, it's a very fitting filler, and I think it meshes well with what precedes and what comes after it. But maybe it's just because I've consumed the media before, right? And I kind of have some of these predetermined biases going into it that it just doesn't hit as hard for me as it did for others. Because I'm noticing a lot of these commenters are, this was one of their first introductions to Hunter x Hunter, and in that I can definitely respect the amount of love that this arc seems to have.
Yeah.
So moving on with the continuing filler Millmore's comment. One of my favorite things that 99 does with its filler is expand upon side characters. Hanzo is given a leadership role and gets a lot of focus. Also, episode 19 starts with another shot of his ass, so that's great. It reminded me of Dan the Man's plan to print out select frames of this arc.
Yep.
Yeah, we gotta hedge him on for that still.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, he hasn't showed us yet. He has limited chances to do that now as Hanzo puts his clothes on for the rest of the show. Aw, that's so sad.
Oh, why'd you spoil that?
Yeah, whoa. Something I like is the better treatment Pokel gets when compared to the other iterations, manga in 2011, just by giving him little moments of competence. In this arc, he is very competent in fixing the motors and operating a communicator radio, and they give him an incredibly sweet moment with Ponzu, rip my goats.
Yep.
Even characters no one knows the names of, like Cyper, get dialogue lines. Yeah, okay, I'm not crazy for not remembering her at all then. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Bodoro and Gozu, right? Was that his name?
Gozu.
Right. Are repeatedly shown chilling together, exercising at the beginning of 19, peer pressuring Leorio into the water, collecting shell projectiles, etc. It makes me sad that they both meet their ends to different Zoldycks.
Yeah,
Truly the
that's
best.
true.
Yeah. Truly the best friendship of the series, just never given the time to flourish. I found it funny the absurd amount of times that someone was knocked unconscious in some way during this mini arc. That did happen a lot, didn't it?
It did, yeah.
as well as how much the animators didn't want to draw daytime. In hindsight, yeah, that's also really apparent.
They really did skip like all the daytime segments.
They did not want to break out the orange, man.
No.
During both days, they skip all the way to sunset so quickly just because it makes for a prettier sky. But the sky was pretty, so who cares?
It's like the opposite of My Hero.
Yeah, actually. Hisoka saving Gon is so funny to me just because of the framing. The way that Hisoka saves him and doesn't say anything makes it read like a selfless act when we all know his reasons for protecting Gon are for his own self-interest.
I think you could only read it that way if you're like a first-time viewer and you don't know anything about Hisoka.
Absolutely, yeah. But even then, they've already shown the scene from back in the first phase of like Hisoka basically saying, "Yeah, no, I'll save you for later." Essentially.
Yeah. So I don't really think it comes across that way, but I can see where you're coming from.
Just love how wholesome it seems out of context. Fair enough. And speaking of Hisoka, the show constantly cuts to him just sitting and looking. They keep doing the metaphor of him building a card tower just to tear it down. But in episode 19, he just sucks at stacking them. I did remember that, actually.
Yeah, you're right.
He completely failed.
Yeah, he just didn't do it right.
However, it could have just been subtle foreshadowing for Zeble Island. Sure. Okay.
Yeah, if you think about it hard enough.
After he fails to stack the card tower, he rubs his shoulder, implying he sucked because his shoulder hurt. This is where the Tagari-induced wound was, and his wound is how Gon later finds him with the butterflies. Oh, I kind of see what you're saying. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we haven't gotten there yet. But,
right.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
I was thinking the card stacking was the foreshadowing, but that aspect of it. Yeah.
I should have heard you out more. My bad.
Yeah, my bad.
It also implies that he brought a change of clown costume. How hygienic. Hisoka changing clothes. Not the first time you'll see that in the series.
No, it's not.
Last things about the boat arc. One, I laughed when Kurapika walked up to Gareta and they both had to tilt their faces a whole 45 degrees to make eye contact because they decided to draw Kurapika so comparatively short in that shot.
I didn't even notice that.
I have to go back and check that now. I laughed when Gon says the birds are frightened, and you assume it's a callback to when he understood bird calls while on the captain's boat, reflective of his unique ability to perceive the emotions of animals. But then it cuts to the birds and they're like screaming and panicking and flying into windows. Quite the deduction.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, they're frightened, all right, Gon. Good job. Good observation. I laughed when Illumi was chilling inside of a cannon barrel. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Gita rocker, actually. Not
Yes.
Illumi.
Come on now.
Kurapika and Killua being sad / concerned about their friends was cute. Kurapika was really going through it. He was on the verge of a crash out during that entire arc. There's not all that much to say about episode 21, as it's pretty similar to the other iterations, but I liked how overt the title, Phase 4, 44, Number of Death is. And when they remove their badges, there's a clear unhooking motion, proving that indeed Leorio had just stabbed himself in the chest in Phase 1.
Great observation.
I'm glad that's been proved now. And you know what? Leorio didn't bleed at all from it, so he might as well be Superman, right?
Hey, he's a doctor. Maybe he knew just the right way to put it through his skin that it wouldn't cause damage. He's just that good. He's built different.
Very impressive, not gonna lie.
Continuing, the Zeble Island boat that they put them on is really cool, but it's also keeping with a funny trend in this anime where it really wants the audience to know the exact boarding and sleeping situations of all the characters. So true.
They always cut to that every moment they get.
Yeah, they show a lot of like sleeping time in this series.
It's probably just a nice way to just fill out, seconds of episodes here and there, but like,
atmosphere.
It is very funny. Yeah.
When watching the series a few months ago, I noticed just how many hotels there are and how comparatively fleshed out the hotel environments are compared to other iterations. Maybe someone behind 1999 really enjoyed interior design and wanted to put all their characters in the little bedrooms. That's a fun idea.
That is a fun idea.
I find it nice, though. I can't wait until Illumi slowly falls over in a hotel
That's
quad.
The second time you mentioned that now. I'm so
It must be really funny.
Yeah, it must be really funny. I'm going to be so upset if it's not as funny as you're making it out to be.
Yeah, your ass is on the line, man. Watch out. Actually, the 99 version sort of fixes a tiny thing I noticed in the manga and 2011 by having a larger boat. In 2011 slash the manga, Killua and Gon end their conversation, and Killua stakes off so he can have a cool parting line. But the boat is so small, you can only imagine that he just went to stand in a different corner and did nothing for 2 hours. That's really funny.
That's a good one.
With the 99 boat being bigger, I can assume he went a farther, less awkwardly close distance away. Though I do love to imagine that the manga / 2011 Killua goes by and then just walks a few feet away and stares into the water for the rest of the ride. Yes, that is very funny. Lastly, they give some Leorio competent moments by allowing him to discover Tompa on the island before Tompa revealed himself. Yeah.
That is a difference.
It is. Yeah. I quite enjoyed that too.
Love. You'd love to see it.
Yeah, it's not surprising at this point, but you love to see it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, this time Tompa didn't poison himself with berries. Oh, I assumed we were gonna get to that still, but okay, maybe not. I guess this confirms that we won't. But I had assumed that scene just got rearranged as a later part of his plan, but maybe not.
Maybe not. We'll see, I guess. But
Leorio again displays his strange propensity for pulling knives on people.
He loves pulling knives on people in this series, for sure.
It's a good tactic.
I agree. I'm not nothing against it. Yeah, this is a really good comment. Your first one too, first real one. So thank you.
Yeah, that's thank you very much, Filler Millmore.
Very good comment.
Yes, excellent stuff.
Now, your competition now.
Yeah.
You know him, you love him. If you're a fan of the podcast, it's insert name time, baby. Our new creator of the wiki now for the battle for Al.
Wiki
Al's
creator.
number one fan.
Yeah.
Can add that to his resume now.
Yeah.
I expect a lot of people will have a lot to say. This has been the stretch I most want to see a reaction to, except for one other episode, so I imagine others might have a lot to comment on. Well, you got that right.
One other episode, huh?
Interesting. I wonder where that's going to fall. My prediction is in Heaven's Arena. I'm claiming it there.
Okay. I can see it.
I really like all 3 of these episodes. They have a good handle on tension and do a good job of setting up clear goals and stakes that the characters have to accomplish that I actually care about. Even insert name likes it. I am so cooked.
It's over, Dylan. I'm sorry, man.
It's over for me. The storm is a great threat, with the show establishing sufficient ambience and tension around it. All the little micro goals add to this. The neat little tender moment between Pokel and Ponzu as Pokel worries about whether the engine will actually start. The stress of the Gon and Leorio rescue mission, with all the twists and turns that happen there. The logistics Kurapika and the rest have to do with the canon, and ultimately the mystery saviors of Hisoka and Ilumi, which is done in such a cool way. It gives such breadth to this story. Everyone contributes. We get things from almost every relevant character in the next arc, and it does make you care about them a little bit more. Gon getting a more complex relationship with Gara is cool. Garetta. Yeah. Letting badass marksmen be dope and hot is cool. Sure. Give the one guy who gets shot by Pokel in the exhibition on how to hunt literally anything is cool. I love this filler. It even works really well into the next episode with the palpable feeling of unease as everyone who just worked so hard to complete a task together, so high on success, comes down to reality as they are forced to consider hunting the people they had just come to rely upon and care for.
Insert name, my man.
Yeah, you just said literally everything Kaige was preaching this episode.
My man.
I
knew you were a real one.
I just cannot see the vision to that degree. I think is my issue. I'm sorry.
Dylan, where's your champion? You don't have anybody echoing.
It's me, myself, and I at this point, man. Like, dude, I am cooked in those comments. I'm telling you.
It's over, Dylan. I'm sorry, man.
I'm not checking the comments section this week. I'll let Kaige do all the work on that. Joking, obviously. But I do want to address some of the logistical and story problems with the insertion of this filler. Okay, wait a minute. Wait, hold on.
Okay. Let's see. Let him cook.
While I love the sense of accomplishment this arc gives and does represent the ability of hunters to work together in pursuit of a common goal, it's another add-on to the issue of Gon being an example of what a hunter is supposed to be. The hunter exam, I love Kurapika, but him and Hanzo taking charge here kind of muddies up the progression and message of the arc. Gon, during this filler doesn't really do a lot. He's the B-plot the entire time, with Kurapika and Hanzo actually solving the problems at hand. Gon is only trotted out to solve the problems that need someone who is proactive and earnest. I'll call back to this at the end of the arc, as without one thing later, I don't think it would be seen this way. But especially with this context, it's clear to me that the pacing and choice of slowing down and spreading apart Gon's triumphs is a deliberate one. One that devalues his special gifts, his instinct, and drive, providing considerably more weakness. 1999 doesn't consider Gon a prodigy in the same way the original story does. He has potential, but it doesn't treat him like he's a uniquely good example of what a hunter should be. Here in particular, I think Kurapika is pushing forward that agenda over Gon, which doesn't enforce the message of the arc or understand elements of Kurapika's character. Kurapika is logical and smart, but he doesn't have the decisiveness of a hunter. Kurapika used to have the sense of wonder and the ambition to search and discover, but smothered that when he lost his clan. He overthinks things. He regains his decisiveness and prematurely matures as part of his sacrifice with his ability. Portraying him this way as the decisive leader feels premature to the story. That's a really interesting point there.
It really is.
I see your point for sure too, actually, like thinking on it more in that perspective. Maybe that might be making a mountain out of a molehill potentially too, though, but
yeah, that's kind of how I see it. I'm glad you agree, Dylan, actually.
But that is an interesting perspective nonetheless that I could see. Like, it does feel like Gon is kind of pushed to the side more often than not through 99, I think. Like, I see his point in that. I do, like, thinking on it now, even to prior moments in episodes, yeah, they really do kind of push Kurapika as, like, the main character over Gon in a lot of ways.
Yes, but I think that's fine, because within this adaptation, we're going to have an arc that's all Gon, and Killua is there too, right after this. And then right after that, we're going to have an arc that's mostly Kurapika with a little bit of Gon. And right, after that, we'll get Gon again. So it's like, I don't know, they are both the main characters, especially in the context of this adaptation, which doesn't get to Chimera Ant.
You are right, but I think the argument is stemming from Hunter Exam kind of should be Gon's arc mostly. So it's a little weird to have Kurapika be kind of the face of it at points in this adaptation, which is why I see his point.
That I see. Up to this point, I agree, but we're also about to watch Zevil Island, which is the Gon part. Like, this is where he is almost the only one of the main four you see through the whole thing. So,
also, yes. But he's also talking about the characterization of, like, this arc in particular, where it's like they're kind of painting Kurapika as, like, the ideal hunter, when, like, you know, Gon kind of should be the prodigy, as is the messaging of Hunter Exam in the other adaptations.
It's a mixed bag. I really do understand what you're saying. I don't know. That's a tough one. I get it.
It's a nuanced one. I'm not, like, disagreeing with you entirely or anything. I'm just saying I see his point, I think, from his lens.
Yeah. I'm with you. He continues and says, but what is abundantly noticeable is what it does to Hisoka. Hisoka is one of those characters who, when he's off screen, you should be wondering where he is. That's right. He's bombastic, a threat, and eccentric. Whenever he's on screen, he is the most extra and driving the plot forward. Here you never ask where he is when he is off screen, because you know the answer. He's sitting in the corner stacking cards 100% of the time.
This does make him look a lot goofier, I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, that's very true.
That's an objectively very good point. I think he feels much sillier in this adaptation as a result of that.
Yeah, the problems, I remember, was it you or Xander? One of you said that you had an issue with Hisoka in this adaptation, and yeah, that's starting to come to light more.
Especially in that filler arc, because that happened a lot in the filler arc, just like those random
Mm-hmm.
cutaways to him.
Yeah. 99 takes a lot of the moments that define Hisoka. You know, actually, before I even continue, I just like imagining this Hisoka in like York New is weird to me. Like, it doesn't feel like this Hisoka can do the things that he does in York New. Does that make sense?
Now I'm concerned. Like, are we gonna get to York New and like we're gonna go to the Phantom Troop hideout and he's gonna be sitting in the corner stacking cards again? Like I just like random cutaway to him again.
Well, to be fair, he does do that. But
okay, he does do that, but like you get the point I'm trying to make there. Like, are we gonna get more
yes.
just like him just being aloof and like not caring in the world? Like, I do it because I agree with Insert Name here that like, you know, when he is off screen, he should be the type of character where you always wonder where he is, you know, what he's doing at any point. He should be mysterious in a way.
100%. Yeah, 99 takes a lot of the moments that define Hisoka as the arc's true challenge and counterpoint to Gon and spreads them out, not allowing the threat of Hisoka to stay at the forefront of your mind.
There you go. Yep.
True.
Exactly.
True. Hisoka tests the applicants, and then he spends 2 to 3 episodes stacking cards. Hisoka kills a guy in Trick Tower. Hisoka spends 3 episodes stacking cards. And he's way less dynamic. I'd argue Hisoka has almost never been portrayed as a serious threat in 1999 since the Wetlands arc. And I think it really diminishes the sense of tension you get when seeing him. When Gon got his number in 2011, you know he's fucked. In 99, though, Hisoka is clearly an obstacle, but he's just much less present.
Yep. I can't disagree at all.
Yeah, and you know, that is, I gotta admit, that is amplified because of the filler arc, because Gon gets that badge number right after we see him in that filler arc where he does jack shit. So your fresh memories of Hisoka are stacking cards.
Yeah.
So
stacking cards. He didn't do anything to like perceive him as a threat or be super powerful aside from like saving Gon. I guess you could read it as that. But like, again, it's like those moments adding up over time throughout the Hunter exam where like he does some serious shit and then he's just like doing nothing the entire time. But they show him doing nothing, and that is the problem.
Yeah. Yep. 100%. I'm with you. Here are some observations. It's neat to see Pokol using the radio given the scene in the Chimera Ant arc. I wonder if this filler scene inspired the analog radio scene where Pokol and Ponzu hear someone get eaten over a shortwave radio. Yeah, I wonder.
Could be.
I say yes. I love all the scenes where there's an L-shaped void of darkness on the screen. Honestly, it's not terrible. I love how much you hate the lighting in this adaptation. It's so funny. You always use so much hyperbole when you talk about it. It's amazing. Honestly, it's not terrible here, but it's kind of my brand at this point to complain about it when I see it. Yeah, exactly. Keep it up.
We didn't really complain about it in this batch, so that makes sense.
Yeah. There's a really cool shot of Kurapika's hair reflected in a teacup. Yes, I made note of that too, but I didn't talk about it.
I didn't notice that actually.
It looked sick.
Oops.
It was awesome. They increased the number of people who passed Trick Tower to 36, meaning only 4 people failed Trick Tower in this version. Wow, that's crazy.
That's kind of crazy. What?
Damn.
Trick Tower's a fraud in 1999. Holy.
Hey, to be fair though, this second phase is also part of Lipo's exam in this version, so it's
somehow
but hey, Lipo still failed the same amount of people in the end. But you know, this means the 12 people who died during the 1.5 phase are 3 times as many as in Trick Tower.
That's such a bad stat.
That makes Trick Tower look like a joke.
Yeah. Oh my.
Calling Hanzo a sushi chef is funny because they only learned what sushi was like a couple days ago, and Hanzo was canonically bad at it.
Yeah, they also made fun of him being bald too. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Like they call him like Egghead or something like that.
Yeah,
like,
something like that.
Chill out, my man.
Yeah,
he didn't do anything.
Also, there's no way that repairing a Japanese battleship is an expected skill of a hunter Also, isn't Japan some remote land? Enough people don't know what sushi is, but we now have a World War II battleship flying around from the war that Japan was involved in. This war, and if so, how do they not know? Well, great question.
Great question. I wish I knew the answer.
Love seeing Saipa fire the cannon. Always loved her design, and now she's got an even bigger gun, so she's hotter. Yeah, I did want to mention she's hot as hell.
She's pretty hot. I won't lie. Okay, I'm in that boat too. Hot.
Yeah, I was gonna bring it up, but I didn't. But now that you brought it up, I might as well.
And now that Pandora's box is opened, we can. Talk about
we
it,
might
right?
as well just let the choppa fly, as they say. I love. Anyway, I love the stalking scene between the bomb guy with the runny nose and Pokel in this version. The grass has so much more character in 99. Love me some nice grass in anime. Me too.
Don't we all?
The expression of both the frog and Gon's face right before the frog appears crack me up. Me too. I love that scene.
Yeah, that was a cute scene.
And that's Insert Name this week. Thank you, Insert Name.
Thank you. Great comment as usual, and
Absolutely.
very valued perspectives.
Yes,
Most of which I agree with here. So
yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah. You catered to both of us. So good job.
Yeah. And that wraps up community comments for this week. Again, if you missed out this week and maybe you want to get on the action for future topics, future episodes, make sure you keep an eye out for the YouTube community posts as well as call-out posts on Twitter and Bluesky. And of course, you can always email us your thoughts at hunterassociationpod@gmail.com.
That's right. And with that, this has been the Hunter Association. Thank you so much for listening. We are available on all major podcasting platforms as well as YouTube for the video version. Be sure to follow, rate, and review and comment on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. You can follow us on Twitter at TXHXAPod, as well as Bluesky at THAPod for updates on the show, and there's an alternative way to submit responses to the weekly call-out posts. As always, we'll be here the same time every week talking about Hunter x Hunter. Dylan, where can people find you online?
You can find me at DJ Tengen. That's DJTENGEN on Twitter and Bluesky. I post about a lot of random stuff. As of this episode airing, I will probably be competing in a One Piece TCG Treasure Cup nearby where I live. So, if you're interested in maybe what my results are there, go give me a follow.
Yes, and you can follow me on Bluesky at Kaige10. That's KAIIGE10. Average posts. We got MomoCon coming up, which we'll talk about in a second. So
we'll be posting a lot of stuff from there, most likely.
Yes.
Hauls and whatnot. Good pictures.
Oh, yeah. Yes, sir. All right, that's it for us this week. Next week, as we just talked about, we'll be at MomoCon in Atlanta, Georgia. If you're there, you see us, say hi. That'd be fun. And we will be off, but more than likely we'll have a bonus episode, I believe.
Yeah, we got to talk about a detail or two with that still, I think. But
yeah.
Planned for now.
Yep.
Anticipate that, I suppose, is the best way to put it.
Yes. And don't expect a call-out post or anything this coming week.
Yeah.
But the week after, of course, beginning of the month, character retrospective time. And guys, we are gonna do Kite.
Very excited about it.
I bet you are.
Kite. Yeah.
Yes.
I always put effort into the character retrospectives and kind of like knowing what I'm talking about, but this one for sure, absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, we're looking forward to that one. That'll be a fun one. So get your Kite thoughts ready. I'm curious to see what everybody has to say about them.
Absolutely.
All right, that's it. So we will see you guys in 1 week for a bonus episode, which will be a past version of ourselves, but then in 2 weeks for the present version of ourselves. So watch out for that one.
Yeah, watch out, guys.
All right, see you guys.
All right, see you then.